Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of The Rachel Cruze Show. All right, in today's episode, we're going to dive into credit scores and credit reports because they can be very confusing. So you may have heard these terms, you may have even heard things like Equifax, FICO, frozen credit. I mean, what does it all mean? Well, today we're gonna break it down in a really simple way so you can once and for all, if you're confused, no longer be confused. So let's talk about the credit report. So a credit report is a statement that has your information about your credit activity from the past and the present. So it includes all of your debt accounts. So if you have credit cards, personal loans, car loans, a mortgage, all of that is on your credit report. And it will show in detail your total outstanding debt, your history of taking out debt and paying debts off, also your history of making monthly payments, and if you made the payment on time. And it also shows if you've ever been sued, arrested, or filed for bankruptcy. So that is all in your credit report, and you can check your credit report for free once a year. And you wanna make sure that you do check it, even if you are those that are on like baby steps 4, 5, and 6, you have no debt, still check it, because what can happen is if someone steals your identity and takes out debt in your name and you don't know about it, well, the credit report is going to show it. So always check once a year. All right, that is the credit report world. Now let's dive into what a credit score is. So a credit score is a number from 300 to 850, which is a representation of your credit history. So here's a little myth buster for you. Just because you have a great credit score doesn't mean that you got a lot of money. Yep, your credit score has nothing to do with how well you handle money or how much money you have. At Ramsey Solutions, we always say that it's your I love debt score, because the only way to have a credit score is to have debt. So it's determined by your debt payment history, the amount of debt that is owed, the length of time you've been in debt, your credit mix, and new credit you're getting. All these things. Debt, credit, yep. Isn't that crazy? That is what makes up your credit score. And then on top of that, you can have multiple credit scores. Yeah. So credit reporting companies like Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, they all use your credit history to determine what they say your credit score actually is based on their scoring system. Yeah, isn't that crazy? And when you're chasing a better score, you're like, I need a better credit score. That means you're chasing debt, which means you're constantly in debt. And when scripture says that the borrower is slave to the lender, there is truth to that. When you're in debt, you're not free financially. You owe money to people. It changes your whole mindset. It changes the way you view your money, everything about it, you guys. So it's amazing to me, though, that we have believed this lie for so long that I even remember in college, one of my professors saying, you should get a credit card because you should start building your credit. And I mean, they are so harped on this idea of building your credit. But when you're building your credit score, then you're going into debt, but you also need to pay it off consistently. So don't mess up once or it'll ding your credit score. Or use it too much and it'll ding your credit score. Use it too little, it'll ding your credit score. I mean, all of it. It's just like this constant game that you just can't win. But according to an article from CNBC, your credit score is arguably the most important number in your financial life. Oh, really? Really, CNBC? So my credit score is more important than my net worth, or how much I have in savings, or how much is in my checking account. This number is just so important. And then here's the deal too, you guys. There's a lot of millionaires out there that don't have a credit score. It's indeterminable because they're not using debt. Of course, they have money to pay for things, and that's great, but like it shows you, okay, you could literally be a millionaire. You could tonight go home, get a letter in the mail that your Aunt Rita from Minneapolis, you never knew you had, died, and left you $30 million. And your credit score doesn't change at all. Like, it has nothing to do with how well you handle money or how much money you have. So I always say, if your credit score is higher than your bank account, you're heading the wrong way. So how often does your credit score update? Well, it updates every 30 to 45 days. So if you're living a consistent debt-free lifestyle, you're working your way out of debt, and those of you on baby step 2, this is you. You're not going into any more debt and you're paying your debt off aggressively. That means your credit score is gonna go down and it actually will become indeterminable within 6 months. But you know what? That's the great news, because the only reason you need a credit score is to go into debt. What's wild too is people work so hard to get this one number that can just disappear in 6 months. Isn't that crazy? And again, you're told your whole life that you need a great credit score, but you put all that momentum and all that energy into that versus handling your money well, and you're not gonna end up in a better position at all, I promise you. So who needs your credit information and when do they need it? Well, any time that you apply for debt, so you're opening up a credit card, you're signing up for 0% financing on new furniture, you're applying for a mortgage, all of these things, the lender will always pull your credit report and your credit score. And this is called a hard inquiry. And that inquiry alone will lower your credit score a bit and last on your report for up to 2 years. Again, you can go and check your credit report for free once a year without affecting your score. But no matter what our culture tells us, you guys, it is possible to live without a credit score. You can even get a mortgage without a credit score. Yep, it's called manual underwriting. And in manual underwriting, they are gonna ask you for things like your bank account statements, tax returns, pay stubs, all of these things to make sure that you can actually pay back the loan. And Churchill Mortgage is a great example of this kind of company. They're amazing because they specialize in serving people who are working the Ramsey baby steps and who don't have a credit score because they're paying off their debt or they've paid off their debt because they're in baby step 3B. So you can go to churchillmortgage.com to check them out. And for all the workarounds with living life without a credit score, all you gotta do is just Google living without a credit score, Dave Ramsey. We have so much information at Ramsey Solutions for you there. So don't let the fear of a credit score or credit report dictate your financial decisions. Use your common sense, you guys, and live without debt, because when you don't owe money to anyone or anything, there is ultimate freedom in that. Do not chase the score that everyone is talking about. You're okay. You can live life without a credit score. So remember to take control of your money and create a life you love.